Hello there! So you've made your character, watched the opening cutscene, and you're starting your adventure. But you're a little overwhelmed. That's understandable, as Eorzea is a big and beautiful world filled with many places to explore and things to do. Don't panic. There's no need to get your head in a spin. Fidget Gladesweald at your service. In this series, I'm going to be talking about roles and classes, dungeons, raids, grand companies, free companies, and more. So if you would like a traveling companion who's with you every step of the way, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss a video. I'm here to help you get started in your new life as an adventurer. So let's take our first step into this world as brand new sprouts. Now that you're attuned to the big crystal, I would like to make sure you remember to attune to all of the little ones around the city, if you haven't already, that is. These make it easier to move around. You can see these on the map, so don't worry if you don't know where they are. Before we go any further, I'd like to address something that I've not seen a lot of people address, and that's the heads-up display, or the HUD. This is personal and unique to each person, but I will explain what each item is, and you can move it around to your liking. This is what the HUD layout looks like when you first open it. I've opened mine to show you the default layout before I start moving it around to suit me better. The cross hotbar is what is used when using a controller. As a mouse and keyboard player myself, I can largely ignore this, and I'll just move it out of the way for the time being. But if you're a controller player, you may want to look into it further. This is the experience bar. This shows you what class you are, how much XP you have, whether you have rested XP, and whether you're in a zone where you can gain rested XP, which is known as a sanctuary, and is denoted by the little crescent moon icon on the right hand side of your XP bar. Rested XP partially turns your bar a dull goldy orange colour and increases XP gain by 50%. This can charge up to one full level, which will turn your XP bar fully blue. Next up are the hotbars 1 through 10, your bread and butter for an MMO. These contain all of your abilities, and you can set up the extra ones to have buttons you use a lot. Like buttons for swapping to your other jobs, your favourite emotes, or your favourite mount. The first three I use for my class or job and role abilities. As you can see, hotbar 3 is currently defaulted as off. You can tell as the name of it is in purple. But don't worry, you can turn it on by going to the little cog icon down here next to your element drop down menu and ticking the box. You can also just right click on the element itself to turn it on and off without the extra settings. This little gill box shows your current money payout. When you're not in the HUD layout screen, you can right click the gill coin and it'll change to show you your Grand Company seals and your Mandeville's golden saucer points. I'll talk about both of these currencies in a later video. The main menu is something you'll want access to at all times. It has more than just your settings and HUD layout buttons. It'll have your character info, log and duty info, and your social stuff like emotes and party finder. Your inventory grid shows you how full your bags are at a glance without opening them. It also shows you your gear slots, and the colour denotes the condition they are in. Red is broken gear, green is normal gear, and white is spirit bonded, which will be explained later on in the series. Next up, the notices element. This is your pop-up box for friendship invites, party invites, duty commencing confirmation, and your respawn if you die. It'll also let you know if you receive a message of import from the GMs. This is the pet hotbar, and unlike the normal hotbars, you can't place actions or abilities on it. Instead, when riding certain mounts or in certain duties when you are mounted, this will show you the special abilities you can use in those moments. These actions can be of great help to you. Here's a good place to show you that you can change the shape of any UI element by clicking the little cog next to the drop down again and clicking any of the ticks depending on which you like the most. This is great for fitting your HUD together. As well as shape, you can also change the size by clicking this element size drop down and clicking a percentage. And lastly, you can also change its transparency so it doesn't distract your eye as much. This is the server info element. It'll show you by default, if you've not changed it in your character configuration that is, what world you are on, if you have mail and how much, online status, if you have an alarm active, and the time. This time could be the server time, your local time, the time it is in the game, or all three if you set that up in the settings. I like to use my local time or Eorzea time. This is useful for gathering and sightseeing, which I will again discuss in a later video. The mini-map shows you what you expect it to, as well as the weather in your current area. The duty list will show you your active quests and will show you the information of completion and the timer when you're in any duty. If you click on the blue text next to a quest, it'll show you the place you've got to go in the big map. This is my oath gauge. I have this because I'm a paladin and I'll move this into place for my comfort. Every job I've seen has a gauge, sometimes two. When you've unlocked these gauges, they will go into the default HUD position, but once placed for those specific jobs, they'll stay there. These are the only UI element that is not shared between jobs. The progress bar. This pops up every time you cast a spell, use an item, or interact with the environment to pick something up for a quest. The limit gauge is only used within duties and will show you how much energy you have stored up for a limit break in a dungeon, trial, or raid. The target bar shows you all the information about what you're targeting, whether it's friend or foe. It can also be split into 3 elements for ease of reading. For me personally, I know that I can miss certain enemy attacks and casts, so I pull the target progress bar down to center and max its size. The target HP speaks for itself, and the target status info shows you the dots currently affecting it. Focus target bar is what your target is currently targeting. The status info blocks. These are defaulted to separate boxes, but you can merge them into one the same way you can make the target bar 3 boxes. The status info enhancements shows you your buffs, whilst the enfeeblements show you your debuffs. The other box shows you if you have FC actions activated, whether you're mounted, and other such things. The party list shows you who you're grouped up with, whether that's in the duties, a friend group, or a cross-world party from party finding. This list will show you the jobs, names, HP and MP, as well as the buffs and debuffs of your party. The Alliance list shows you the classes and health bars of everyone within the Alliance raid, but not their names, MP, or their buffs or debuffs. These exist so you can see how well the other alliances are doing. The enemy list shows you what enemies you are attacking, or enemies that are attacking you, and if you have aggro, which is denoted by the colour of the little gem next to the enemy names. Red means you are holding aggro. As a tank, this is a good sign. As a healer, not so much. Amber means you're capable of pulling the aggro to yourself, and green means you have no aggro. The game likes to also call this enmity, so I apologise to those out there who don't like it when I say aggro. The scenario guide shows you what your current or next main scenario quest is. If you're between MSQs and want to know where to pick it up again, you can click this and it'll show you where it is on the map. This will also show you your job quest once you've reached a level for it, and I've also seen the My Little Chocobo quest pop up here to show you can gain a mount. The New Game Plus guide is pretty much the same as the scenario guide. Once you've unlocked New Game Plus, you can replay chapters of the MSQ, and I believe the job quests too. Don't quote me on that. I've never used this function as I've been scarred for life against New Game Plus since I played Dark Souls New Game Plus. Now that we're all finished with our HUD setup, we should probably continue in our MSQ until we get to the Hall of the Novice in La Noscea. This should be around levels 15 to 20 depending on how fast you gain XP, which can be done quicker with food buffs as well as gear like Minfina's earring and the brand new ring. I encourage you to explore and discover as much as possible for yourself in the meantime, and I'll meet you at the Hall of the Novice outside Airport when you're ready. I'll see you in the next video, and let me be the first to welcome you to Eorzea.